What you are hearing now is the Azan. But something is unusual about the Azan. Listen carefully to the first Azan, coming from the Sultan Ahmet Mosque. While the call to prayer echoes from the minarets of this beautiful mosque, the muazzin of the neighboring Hagia Sophia mosque awaits his turn to recite the call to prayer. This melodious duet of the Muslim call to prayer, the Azan, by the Sultan Ahmet Mosque and the Hagia Sophia Mosque, is something that is worth a listen, not only for Muslims, but also for any passerby who finds themselves in this historic city.
Well, it's a piece of history. It's culture. It's interesting to see this in person and to hear it.
This practice is called Azan Muqabala. It is a tradition that has continued in Istanbul, the capital city of the Ottoman Empire, for almost 5 centuries. In 1935, however, instead of a mosque, Hagia Sophia was converted into a museum. During that time, the voice of Hagia Sophia was left muted. But in 2012, after a decades-long silence, the Azan from the minarets of Hagia Sophia has been called ever since. The presence of Hagia Sophia remains controversial. Although the Azan has been called from Hagia Sophia's minarets, the muazzin has always recited this beautiful call to prayer from a different prayer room found in the grounds of the museum rather than inside the mosque itself. In order to understand the tradition of Azan Muqabala between these two mosques, we need to go back to 1453, when Sultan Mehmed conquered Istanbul. On May 29, 1453, the Sultan ordered Hagia Sophia to be ready for the following Friday prayer. It was on a Tuesday when they entered the city. Within 3 days, Hagia Sophia was renovated and converted into a mosque. The conversion of Hagia Sophia was told in the history books as the second most important event after the conquest. The architects and the workers worked day and night to finish renovations until the Friday prayer with Sultan Mehmed as the guest of honor. He climbed the minbar and recited the Holy Quran with joy. Hagia Sophia became the first imperial mosque of Istanbul. Sultan Mehmed saw to the establishment of the mosque and its upkeep, which included most of the existing houses around the area of the future Topkapı Palace. He also saw to the allocation of 60,000 golds from the income of the royal treasury, which at the time was enough to maintain it. Sultan Mehmed started the tradition of Azan Muqabala. 2 muazzin, stationed within their own respective minarets between the mosques, took turns calling for prayer. The Sultan asked for this tradition to be followed. He probably planned for the establishment of another mosque in front of Hagia Sophia, but his untimely death came before his dream could be realized. However, a mosque in front of Hagia Sophia was planned long before it was built. During the golden age of the Ottoman Empire, Mimar Sinan, chief architect and prominent figure within the empire, was offered to build the mosque in front of Hagia Sophia, but he turned it down, saying that if he had to build a mosque in front of Hagia Sophia, the mosques should be able to dance together, because the relationship between the two mosques should be eternal. Hagia Sophia remained the only mosque in the area for 40 years, until Firuz Agha built a small square-planned mosque. Nevertheless, Hagia Sophia needed to wait another 150 years for a perfect match. When Sultan Ahmed succeeded to the throne, he was just 13 years old. The empire was at war both in the west and the east. He signed peace treaties with both sides. Among the terms of the peace treaties, the Sultan received 200,000 golds from Austria and 200 camel loads of silk from Persia. Sultan Ahmed was a pious and modest sultan. He decided to invest on the mosque in front of Hagia Sophia. The conditions were perfect. 21 years following Mimar Sinan's death, his pupil, who when he was young, came from Balkan land from Devshirme system, later becoming the head architect of the empire. He was given this chance to build Sultan Ahmed's mosque. Sedefkar Mehmet Ağa was a passionate architect. He proved his abilities with successful restorations of the Kaaba. In 1609, he started the construction of the mosque. Sultan carried sand in his kaftan. The architect worked day and night. The mosque opened in June 1616, 3 months before the death of Sultan Ahmed. From the opposing minarets of the two mosques, azuns echoed across Istanbul. The two mosques literally sang and danced together for 350 years. A prominent Turkish poet, Nuri Pakdil, has seen the love between the mosques. He wrote the lines, "Sultan Ahmet kisses Hagia Sophia, flows into the sun on his lock of hair. When the seagulls scatter gilly flowers to the sea, nobody ever became such Istanbul." When Hagia Sophia was converted into a museum, Firuz Ağa Mosque accompanied Sultan Ahmet for a while. The tradition of Azan Muqabala continued between them. Now, after long years of silence, Hagia Sophia joined Sultan Ahmet's company. In the afternoon prayer calls, you can hear the duet of these two beautiful mosques, and you can witness their love yourself.